Folks, I know that we have the number 2 overall pick in the NFL draft, at least for right now, and it's likely that we're going to hold on to that after next week. But do we really have to draft a quarterback with that pick? Let's talk about it in this video. Well, welcome back to another video here on the Washington Football Maniacs YouTube channel. This is Greg, and this channel is dedicated to the Washington Commanders. And if you're down with that, please make sure you have subscribed to this channel. And when you do, also make sure you have hit that notification bell so you will have not missed any videos that are released on this channel. I know a lot of people automatically assume it is a number one must that you must draft a quarterback if you have the second overall pick of the NFL draft, and it will be a travesty, and there will be riots out on the streets if you do not draft a quarterback at number 2. But do you have to? Because as we're starting to look at some of these other quarterbacks, their performances that they have had, some of these quarterbacks who actually played in their bowl games, like Penix and some of the others, maybe we don't have to necessarily draft a Caleb Williams or a Drake May. Now, those two guys are very electrifying guys, especially Caleb Williams. We've all seen him. We all know that he is a very electrifying quarterback. And, compared to Patrick Mahomes, he seems to have that type of style of player quarterback. And then Drake May, he's been compared to Herbert. And so, these two guys we feel like are non-miss quarterbacks, but we've heard this before in past drafts. So, there's always cautious optimism whenever you look at drafting quarterbacks in the first round. And, when we start to look at all of the holes that this team needs, and we've talked about this ad nauseum on this team, on this channel, there are very high quality quarterbacks that we could possibly get in the second round. Look at Penix, and I know that people are tearing him apart because they're like, yeah, but his injury history, and he's old. He's 24 years old. Man, I must have one foot in the grave and one foot on the banana peel, because 24 years old, I mean, I don't even know if your brain is fully, developed at 24 years old. I mean, come on, 24 years old, that's not that old. I mean, yeah, people think 2 years. All right, if you go into college and you're playing ball right away, and let's say that you go all 4 years, you graduate, you're 21, 22 years old, but he's 24 years old, so suddenly you stack 2 more years on top of it and you're ancient. I think people overreact on that way too much. Now, the injury situation, people are talking about scar tissue and all this stuff, and it's going to shorten his NFL career and all this stuff. Well, what shortens NFL careers as for quarterbacks? It's when they have to play behind shoddy offensive linemen. And when you have a shoddy offensive line that has just been terrible throughout the entire season, you are pretty much going to have a short NFL career. Look at Patrick Ramsey. Patrick Ramsey, I think, he probably could have had a much longer NFL career, but guess what? He played against the shoddy behind a shoddy offensive line, and for one thing, I think it beat him up physically, beat him up mentally, and he just never recovered from that. Same thing, that's probably going to happen to Sam Howell unless things change. He has played behind a shoddy offensive line all season long, and it's caused him to mentally have he just went downhill. And we can't blame it all on the offensive line. I get that. We're not going to get into that in this video. But, just the whole gist of this is that you start looking at some of these other quarterbacks and you're seeing how impressive they are. You're seeing that this draft is pretty deep in quarterbacks. You can get a pretty solid quarterback. Now, game changer, blue chipper, I know that's what people want at quarterback. I want that too. But we have so many other holes as well. So how are you going to be able to get these other blue chippers in other positions we need? Because you need blue chippers on the offensive line just as much as you need blue chippers in skill positions as well. So that's the thing that I look at. Now, I've done mock draft after mock draft after mock draft, and we'll go over some of the other mock drafts that I've done. But I really want to dive in and study some of these players before I start doing any more mock draft videos. But I really feel that we have options, and people are so locked in. They have such tunnel vision, and they want such the nice shiny new toy that they won't accept anything less than a Caleb Williams or Drake May. And honestly, most people are zeroed in to Caleb Williams and will accept nothing other than Caleb Williams, and will be bitterly disappointed if we do not draft Caleb Williams. And, I just feel like there's going to be some people who are going to be very bitterly disappointed come draft time, because I have to say that I really honestly don't believe that we're going to stay at number 2. I don't. I think that there's so many holes, and whoever that we get into the front office as vice president of football operations and general manager and head coach and all this stuff, I think they're going to look and see that we've got a lot of places to fill, and just, putting all of our eggs in one basket at number 2 may not be the smartest thing to do. And that every single year you're going to have what we consider the sure thing quarterback coming out of college. And so, which approach is it going to be? A lot of people want to go ahead and blow their load on the quarterback this year and sans anything else. Doesn't matter. I don't care if we draft anything else. I just need that quarterback. And that's it. They're closed-minded to anything else. And I get that. Everybody has been salivating over a franchise quarterback for I don't know how long. But folks, let's take a look at this. Let's keep in perspective that we need to make sure that we build this team right. And I'm not saying that my philosophy as far as filling out the offensive line or building that up first is necessarily the right. I feel like it's the right way, the right approach. But I also understand that if you have the chance to take a sure thing quarterback that's going to be a blue chipper, that's going to be a game changer, and it's going to change your franchise, that's definitely hard to pass up as well. I just feel like that people need to have their eyes open. And, like I said, by doing some of these mock drafts, it's fun, but it's also opening my eyes to other opportunities that, we could actually, doing some trades with other teams and things like that. There are options with this franchise where we can still get a solid quarterback, a quarterback that a lot of us probably feel would be better than Sam Howell, and still get that all-pro offensive tackle and maybe another guard and maybe another center and wide receivers and tight ends and linebackers, the whole 9 yards. I mean, we could seriously solve a lot of areas or fill a lot of areas on this team just through the draft, and we haven't even talked about free agency yet. So, that's very enticing as well. I really love the idea of trading down and picking up a plethora of picks, of draft picks for this team, rather than to just, spend that high round draft pick on one player. That's my thought. Anyway, let me know in the comments what you think. I know that a lot of people are going to disagree with me, and most people do. I always seem to have particular one or two people who are going to disagree with me and going to say the sky is green, and going to vehemently disagree with whatever I say. So have at it, folks. Hope you have a nice day. I will see you in the next one.